Then we speak about at 10 p.m. we can have the Christmas meditations. So let's continue Yoga Sutras now. I don't think so because everyone is busy. So I don't think so. Today will more people join. So let us all chant mantra Om all together. Om Sana Bhagavato Sano Bhunakto Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavadhetamastu ma vidvisavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Sankaram Sankaracharyam Kesavam Badarayanam Sutrabhasakritam Vande Bhagavanto Panaha Panaha Isara Guru Atmete Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyavadatta Dehaya Sri Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sankaram Sankaracharyam Kesavam Badarayanam Sutrabhasakritam Vande Bhagavanto Panaha Panaha ईश्वर गुरुरात्मेते मूर्तिभेद विभागिने व्यमवद्व्याप्त देहाय श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम शांति 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 हरि ओम। ओम नमः शिवाय गुरवे सच्चिदानंदमूर्तये निष्प्रपंचाय शांताय निरलंबाय तेजसे। ओम शांति Shanti Shanti Hari Om. So today and we are going to study the Yoga Sutras. I'm sorry because I feel very hot. Although India is very cold, I put some heaters. So today now going to study what is dharana, dhyana, samadhi and samyam. The four things need to discuss. And today I would like to start new chapter, the third chapter of the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. What is dharana? Chapter 3. Chapter 3, that is in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, divisible in 4 parts. The first part, Samadhi Pada, second is Sadhana Pada, third is the Vibhuti Pada, and finally the Kaivalya Pada. And the first chapter explaining Yoga for super consciousness, attainment of the yoga, the goal of the yoga, the goal of the yoga, that is the Samadhi Pada. Then second is the Sadhana Pada, where one can practice. Third is the Vibhuti Pada. So Vibhuti Pada is all about achievements on the way to the Kaivalya path. So as Vibhuti Pada translate into as the yoga of obstacles. Because the third chapter is going to explain you how you get a lot of miracles, or you are going to experience miracles, the supernatural powers. Right? That is the third chapter. But all kind of miracles, all kind of supernatural powers, as you understood, as a yogi, as a sadhaka, is obstacles. In order to attain Kaivalya, in order to attain final liberation, in order to attain to know your true self. And fourth chapter all about to Kaivalya Pada. So Kaivalya Pada, the final liberations. So let we start today discuss chapter 3. What is dharana? Dharana, dhyana, samadhi. But first chapter all about samadhi. So we have to understand now the second chapter yoga practice, and third chapter start with the concentration of the mind, dharana. It should be fourth chapter, samadhi, right? Fourth chapter has to be yoga of super consciousness. Very interesting that. So therefore, but anyhow, after practice, we can have the concentration mind, that is correct. But at the very beginning, Patanjali explained Samadhi Yoga. Already, I think I have been taught you some lessons previously. Every human being or each and individuals have their own aspirations and expectations. When you are going to practice yoga, especially for example, when you go to study yoga teacher training, at first you ask to the teacher, to the management, after my completion of the teacher training, what can I get it? Is it I'm going to get the diploma? Is it I'm going to get the certificate in order to teach to others? Or in within 1 month, is it I'm going to real a good yoga teacher? So we have our own aspirations, also our own expectations. So therefore, so Patanjali explained very beginning Samadhi Yoga, because everyone expect to achieve the Samadhi after a practicing yoga. So therefore, it's very natural. Patanjali Maharshi explained very beginning, Samadhi Yoga. But there is another thing is very interesting, that Yoga Anusasana. So Patanjali will explain Yoga Anusasana, the discipline of yoga. Actually, discipline of yoga does not come very beginning. Only comes when you are over mastering of the dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. Even second chapter, yoga practice. So you have to do sadhana. And you have to practice, you have to do abhyasa. Satu dirghakala abhyasa, that's the sadhana part. But actually, Satu dirghakala abhyasa, this sutra, I think it was in first chapter, right? Atmanand. Satu dirghakala abhyasa, this sloka, the verses in the first chapter. I don't remember exactly, but I think in the past chapters.
I don't know.
Yes, in the past chapter.
Vyasa.
So how long I can?
About Vyasa.
So huh?
About Vyasa.
How long one can practice? Yes. Sutra number 14. First chapter. Satu dirghakala naryantara satkara sevito dridha bhumi. How long one should practice? Satu dirghakala naryantara satkara sevito dridha bhumi. It becomes firmly grounded by being continued for a long time with reverence without interruptions.
Yes.
So one has to do abhyasa. So one has to do abhyasa for a long time. They say, Sutta number 30, Tatra stito yatno abhyasa. Sutta number 13, first chapter. It say, Tatra stito yatno abhyasa. Patanjali explain meaning of abhyasa in this sutra. The word tatra literally means there, but with reference to the context of the sutra. The word tatra means of the two. Abhyas means to perfectly fix in the spiritual efforts, the sadhana. So we do abhyasa, but we have to get the right guidance. And we call margadarsaka. So Guru is a margadarsaka. Show the path for this sadhana. The efforts here involve the practice of chitta vritti nirodha. So the main aim, the tatra sthito yatna abhyasa, one has to practice yoga with yatna. Tatra sthito yatno abhyasa. Tatra sthito yatno abhyasa, sutra number 13. And one has to do sadhana. One has to practice. One has to have abhyasa with yatna. Yatna means the positive efforts. Most of the time we do efforts, but with raga, with expectations, again, with our own personal aspirations. But as for the path of yogic science, you never know when you are going to reach the destination, achieve the destinations, or attainment of the samadhi. In order to have the wisdom, the prajna of the atma jnana, then it leads to all the way to kaivalya. Kaivalya means final liberation, final emancipations, or final enlightenments, where one achieved the higher consciousness of the divine personality and what is real. Then sutra number 12, what do they say? Abhyasa vairagyabhyam tannirodha. Just I take this because when especially must remember, when you study Darshan Shastras. Darshan means philosophy, to see exactly as it is. Not by the senses, not by the mind, not by the matters, but beyond this. When you are experiencing something, opening eyes through the senses, in the physical experiences. But when you close eyes and experiencing many things, but it is a mental, it is a psychological experiences. But something we experience, even close the eyes, within this framework of the body, you experience something beyond transcendental. And there is no experiences of your physical body. So it leads to the all the way to the higher consciousness. So that known as the Atmigyan or the Turyati. Then Sutra number 12 in first chapter, Abhyasa Vairagyabhyam Tannirodha. Abhyasa Vairagyabhyam Tannirodha. Say why we need to have Abhyasa. Say Abhyasa niti Vairagyabhyam Tannirodha. They say there are Abhyas and Vairagya. Abhyas means repeated and persistent practice. Vairag is a very controversial word from time to time, from country to country, and from brain to brain. It has different meanings. We may say that is the mental conditions of non-attachment or detachment, which is freedom from raga and dvesa, attraction and repulsions. So please remember that vairagya is a renunciations. Vairagya abhyasa vairagyabhyamtam nirodha. This is stopping of that 5 breaths by repeated practice of by practice and vairagya. So we can cease the 5 breaths. We can overmaster the breaths by practicing yoga continuously, by renouncing of what? All kind of material objectives or the sensual objectives. It means one has to be very clear. We may say that it is a mental condition of non-attachment or detachment, which is freedom from raga and dvesa, attraction and repulsions. That what I said, Bhagavan, when I taught you Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavan means Bhagaraga, Bhagadvesa, ethical Bhagavan. Bhagavan means the God Almighty. Who will be the God Almighty? Who have the mental conditions of non-attachment or the detachment, and they are free from raga and dvesa, attraction, repulsions. When the mind becomes free of these, that stage is called vairagya. In India, vairagya traditionally means an order of sannyas. So sannyas is the real vairagya. As per our culture of the Sanatan Dharma of the Vedic science. So real vairagya traditionally we call sannyas. So those who take sannyas, became swami, became monk, they have the real vairagya. Vairagya means detachment from the material objectives, neither attachment, there is no attachment anyway, but detachments the material objectives to fulfill. So therefore they became sannyas. They left the home and they used to stay in the ashrams as a renunciate life, as a sannyas life. That they call vairagya. But Patanjali has described raga and dvesa in a further chapter. Raga, we may say, is the attitude of liking for any object of our choice. Actually, not only liking, where addiction, what you like it, that is called raga. On the other hand, dvesa in attitude of the mind is involved dislike for an object. Freedom from these two is called vairagya. So most of the time, dvesa means not only dislike, but actually we are become negative. Because where the raga, there will be dvesa. When you are, like you see, when you give small toy to the child, what happens? And sometimes, and you like to feed the child, not to play with the toys. And when you remove the toys in front or from the hand of child or baby, so baby is cry, right? But sometimes so, and you need to feed. Similarly, so what happening? Attachment is like that. So something we are actually involved, and that brings also that brings raga and dvesa brings miseries and obstacles and accumulating karma, and that known as britis. So overmaster the britis need to free from raga and dvesa. Abhyasa need to keep continuity of the practice and same time in order to practice vairagya, how to free from raga and dvesa. So it's very important, and one can practice that in meditation very beginning. Of course, when you are living in the samsara, in the material world, not possible everything to renounce like a sannyas. Like a monk life, renounce everything and left the home and join the ashram life. And it is not possible. So those people living in the material world, they may have sometime temptation to be a swami, to living sometime in ashrams, but they have so much attachments of the material world in order to fulfill them. So therefore, we divide the 4 stages of life as per the Vedic science. Grihastha, first the brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, that is called karma sannyas. Then leads to the sannyas. But even if people go to karma sannyas or vanaprastha, again return to samsara, to grihastha. So what happening? So is the state of the consciousness does not guide to the sannyas. So such kind of vairagya is more dangerous, more dangerous. And certain times, certain people do that. Anyhow, so that is what I try to say. Vairagya, not easy to practice, but one has to be positive if they keep doing practice under the guidance of the master as per the instruction of the Sutras. Then we have to jump to now the dharana. So it's very important when you keep continue to your practice under guidance of the Guru, the master, under guidance the master of the gurus. And then your sadhana, they became perfect. Then you are going to develop the dharana, the concentration of the mind. The concentration of dharana binding the mind to one place. The desa bandha shitasya dharana. Desa bandha sitasya dharana. Then place here the concentration is binding the mind to the one place. What is the concentration? What is the dharana? Dharana is all about how we can fix our mind on one objectives and one place. So place here means a mental and a physical spot. For example, we are sitting one position. Therefore, we say that sthiram sukham asana. Dharana is not only the concentration of the mind in the eyebrow center, but same time physically need to be stable as well. Like Lord Buddha, you are sitting on a tree. He said that I'll never move my positions, even slightly my hands and legs, unless I became enlightenment. Until I get to understand, unless to understand myself. So therefore, when you are going to practice dharana, you have to have over mastery of the physical body. That is very, very important. Because once you are over mastered the physical body, so naturally the physical mind leads to the develop the mental concentrations. Then once you are stable the physical body, your gross senses are naturally became concentrated. So therefore, sthiram sukham asana is very, very important. That would personally Maharshi already explained. I think in the second chapter, sthiram sukham asana. Oh yeah, second chapter. The sthiram sukham asana. When you study yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, sama. I think that the second chapter, sutra number 27 or 28, something like that. So that you can check. Also, just I remind you, this is very interesting also for me. Sutra number 29. Yama, niyama, asana, pranayam, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhaya, ashta avanga. That is the sutra number 29, chapter 2. So when you study again, what I try to remind, when you study Darshan Shastra, especially in the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, you have to actually have good homework to understand the first chapter, second chapter. When you go to third chapter, again you have to go back to the first and second chapter. Otherwise, very difficult to understand the Patanjali, especially Yoga Darshan. Some days before, myself and Swami Viswarapananda, we have discussion. Is it? I never taught to anyone the chapter 3 and the 4. See, even many people think they know Patanjali Yoga Sutras. They think they know all the philosophies. Actually, one of the difficult part to understand. Even in my life, already I have been teaching more than 30 years. Still difficult sometimes to understand properly, because it's not only teaching intellectually, but you have to actually contemplate, you have to practice, you have to meditate to understand these sutras. Even today, if my master said that please come to my class to study, I'll be very happy to go to that class. Because every master is they're teaching not only intellectually, out of their experiences. So then what is dharana? Desabandha chitasya dharana. So chitta, Chitta here translated as mind. Say the chitta became concentrated to one place. So that known as a dharana. Place here means a mental or a physical spot. It is said in different scriptures that there are three bases available for a student, namely objective, subjective, and vision. So dharana means confinement of the mind, the chitta, to one point or one object or one area. There is a good example of one-pointed attention given in the Mahabharata that you know, the stories between the story about the Arjuna when he went to marry. So he had to fix. While teaching archery to the Pandavas, their Guru Drona asked him that what object they could see. Arjuna said that he could see only the eye of the bird, or which was the target and nothing else. This is an example of concentration. So this is also part of a concentration. And one can develop the concentration of the mind by practicing asanas, by practicing pranayama, by practicing japam, mantra chantings, and by meditating on the chakras, meditating on the yantras, and so on. So therefore, so there is many kind of practice. The mind doesn't move or leave the point of the concept. If it moves, it is called vikshepa, the distractions. The concentration, there should not be awareness of anything but the desa. It is said that sometimes that you can have two areas for the concentration. Concentration. Desa means place. You have the fix your mind in the proper place. So that is called concentration of the macheta bandha, desa bandha, chitasya dhara. Anyway, today I'm not going to speak a lot about that, but let integrate the three sutras. Then second come, what is dhyan? Sutra number 2, the third chapter. Tatra pradeka ekatanata dhyanam. Tatra pradeka ekanata dhyanam. Uninterrupted stream of the content of consciousness is called dhyana, the meditation. So uninterrupted, what does that mean? So pratyahara means the basis of consciousness, which may be an idea. Pratyaya, they speak about pratyaya now here in the sentence, but actually pratyaya, when integrate three things, that comes the 4 sutras. Pratyaya means the basis of consciousness, which may be an idea, a sound, or any object. This is tatra. Pratyaya. Tatra means there. That means the place. Desa. Pratyaya, basis or the content of consciousness. What is the content? Ekatanata. Continuity dhyana. So actually, ekatanata. Ekatanata means continuity, and ekatanata means ekata means concentration. So continuity meditations. So continuity meditation, what is that actually? Continuity of the concentration of the mind leads to the dhyana. They say uninterrupted stream of content of consciousness. So continuity, concentration of the consciousness is dhyana. Actually, when meditating, we observe the, for example, breath. We sit down, we observe breath, concentration of the breath. What happens? We sit down, bring your awareness on the breath, the incoming and outgoing. For example, is a practice of techniques. What I'm speaking about japa and chakras and all these things. So what happening? The breath coming into and out, you simply observe all the time how breath goes into and out. So if you keep a continuity observation of the incoming and outgoing breath, you realize sometime, not sometime, many times, you realize mind not here anymore. It does not watch the breath coming in and out. It's only mind moving here and there. Sometimes, oh, I have the knee pain. Oh, I have the lower back pain. Oh, there are the lights. Oh, there are the colors. But you forget the breath. Right? You forget the breath. Or you listen to the music from outside. You listen to sounds from outside. You think, oh, after meditation, what I have to eat? Maybe pasta. Or after meditation, what I do? I have to call to my mom. Actually, you are doing dharana. You are doing dhyana. So keep so dhyana means dharana means bring your awareness onto breath. But dhyana means to keep becoming aware, incoming and outgoing breath constantly, not for one moment. Keep continuity, awareness of your concentration, of the content. That is called dhyana, the awareness. And so what happening? That time our mind moves. So it called vicheka. That is not real concentration. So this pratyaya means the basis of consciousness, which may be an idea, a sound, or any object, subtle or gross. If in dharana, the consciousness becomes continuous, so that there is no break or interruptions due to any other thought, then dharana is replaced by or turned into dhyana. So dharana leads to the dhyana. How? Sometimes we experience dhyana when we are practicing dharana. In dhyana, there is an uninterrupted flow of consciousness. If you are visualizing a particular object, you should not visualize that object alone, but you should also visualize that you are practicing dhyana. So what happening is very important to understand. Not only concentration of breath here, but if we can witness of the breath, witness of the breath. This is important. Sometimes you may become oblivious to the object also, but there is the awareness of dhyana, which is called sakhi bhaga. Sakhi bhaga means witness. You simply witness, and without involving them, you are not developing concentration of mind. For example, when you say concentration of the mind, you may feel pain in the knees. That is called concentrations. Because pain, you feel there is no dhyana. You are only concentrated. So dhyana means witness of that pain without reacting into. For example, we are watch the breath, our mind moving, some colors, some lights, or sometimes to visualize the in the eyebrows lights and colors. So what happened? Actually, you are not meditating anymore. You develop again concentrations because your mind divert to certain other things. So we can say also not perfection of pratyahara. So first need to get the perfection of pratyahara, then dharana comes, then dhyana comes. So sakhi bhava is very important. That means where you are not going to react, not going to act. So otherwise, what usually happens is that if your mind slips away during concentration, you do not know it. Actually, what happened when I do vipassana meditations, when I did many times, also under guidance of gurus, with my own gurus, and many times. So when I meditate, what happens? I bring the awareness onto breath, and you watch me 1 minute, 2 minutes, and sometime as a witness, and you think you are doing that. But soon as mind already gone somewhere, and you forgot, mind is already gone, breath is still flow, and you have no awareness about the breath. So therefore, mind sometimes slips out of the dhyana. So this should not happen. So So what happened during dhyana? Your mind is supposed to not slipped out. Not slipped out. You understand me? The mind should not getting out, not slips out away. So what happened? You have to develop that. You have to keep aware. So it means you have to watch your mind, watch your breaths, watch your chitta. Thus dhyana includes two things. One, an unbroken continuous flow of consciousness of the single object, and two, the awareness with dhyana. That means this should not happen. The dhyana includes two things. One, an unbroken continuous flow of consciousness of a single object. So when you are aware of the breath, what happens? We supposed to see, we supposed not see the colors or the lights or the pain in the knees or in the pasta in the kitchen or going to call our mom or meeting our beloveds or you understand, go to temples and so on. We supposed not that business there, right? But we do have the business. Like Atmananda, and he get ready when the bread will be prepared after 10 minutes. So I finish my meditation, so bread is already cooked, so I can eat it. So you are meditating, but your concentration already go to bread. Maybe if you are 5 minutes more, maybe the bread going to burn out, so you can't eat it. So what I'm just give you an examples. So that is what happens. That what happening. So that is what happening is there. So therefore, so is very important. So our mind should not slips out of the breath. We must develop the awareness on the breath. It's very, very important. What I'm speaking is practically, and I have been that experiences. When I do Vipassana, I remember very beginning. Nowadays is different. I don't have time to go. So when I meditate, and the morning time, especially 4:30 to 6:30, I meditate. But when I already know my position of breath, because 2 hours you have to sit down in a meditation, I checking what kind of breakfast I can get. Because as I'm old student, we don't get the food at evening. So we get only the lunch, no evening snacks, nothing. They give lemon water. I remember today. So morning time, so 6:30, already I'm hungry. So my meditation not in the breath, not body, not free flow, nothing there. So after 1.5 or 1 hour, so body feeling. So let Samarpan chalo to have breakfast. So what I mean, so mind does not, so that moment, so there is no proper concentration and there is will be no meditation at all. That would happen sometimes when I was in the Vipassana. So I can't call it the meditation. So I went to Vipassana meditation to meditate. Even there is no concentration, there are no meditations. And mind thinking about the breakfast. So what I mean, so it means our mind should stay one single object, not think about breakfast. It has to think about on the meditation, on the breath, the single object. And the awareness has to be there. The witness has to be there. So you're a witness of your breath. So that called dhyana. And when you bring your awareness onto breath, that is called concentration, because your mind moving here, there, here, there. So it is very simple. In meditation, for example, you don't have proper gurus, proper mantras, or you don't have proper techniques, the best way to meditate as per the Vipassana also. So simply you bring your awareness onto breath. Even not a yogi, you don't know what is the pranayama, not important. So you have to observe the breath, the incoming and outgoing. So that helping you leads to the dhyana and become witness of the breath. That is the awareness that you are practicing unbroken concentration. These two kinds of awareness go hand in hand. So now you can understand what is the dhyana, what is the meditation. Am I clear that now? Today also I want to myself also to more clear. So I think about this and Vipassana when I think about breakfast. So that means there is no proper concept of no meditations. People say, are you coming for a Vipassana meditation? No, not now. I'm going to fast breakfast. So think about breakfast. Of course, that time we are silent, we can't speak. But I used to make a lot of fun, a lot of jokes the 10th day. So we can blah blah a little bit. So I used to speak with them. So how was their meditation? I say after morning meditation 6:30, always think about the breakfast. And in 11 o'clock, think about the lunch. So before meditation, after half an hour like this, I don't think anything. No meditation there. Only think about breakfast and lunch. So people laugh. So as people think that the great meditators. I say, I don't want to be a great meditators. Anyhow. But most of the time people admire me. Oh, you could sit down for 3 hours. I watch you. You sit down like a Buddha. 3 hours. You don't move it. Actually, I used to sitting 8 to 11 o'clock and never move. Normally that's sitting because you take the light food morning time breakfast. And 8 to 11 o'clock, always for me the best meditations. 8 to 11 o'clock, 3 hours, I sit down constant unless the teacher calling me to have the personal meditation with the master, the acharyas. Normally, in Vipassana, I don't have any personal questions. But most of the teachers have the questions. So I used to go meditate with them. They say, what is samadhi? So the number 3 comes. Tadaivartha matra nirvasam swarupa shunyam eva samadhi. That state becomes samadhi when there is only the object appearing without the consciousness of one's own self. I think the samadhi, that state becomes samadhi when there is only the object appearing without the consciousness of one's own self. What does that mean? Is simply experiencing the pure consciousness, the absolute consciousness, where you are not experiencing of your physical body, not the mind. So that is called one's own self. They say it should be noted that dharana itself turns into dhyana, and dhyana itself turns into samadhi. In dharana, the consciousness is broken. In dhyana, it is continuous, wherein the samadhi becomes once with the artha, that the object of concentration. It may be gross object or subtle object. In samadhi, there is no consciousness that one is practicing concentration. So in dharana, and you say, I am concentrating the breath. In dhyana, you are simply aware of the breath. But in samadhi, what happened? There is you no more aware of the breath. It is remain the consciousness, right? You are remain conscious, you are experiencing only the consciousness, the pure consciousness. That nothing to do with your physical body, nothing with your mind, nothing with your panchakosha, and you are experiencing the pure consciousness. That known as a samadhi. And this pure consciousness we call samadhi, the pure, the complete harmony. A state of the harmony, a state of the consciousness you maintain as harmony, and that known as the samadhi. And where neither object nor subject is. What does that mean? There is no body, there is no breath, you are concentrate, and there is no more your witness of the breath as well. You're simply experiencing the pure consciousness, which is beyond your physical body, the astral body, the subtle body, the causal body. That stays known as the Turyati, the transcendental consciousness, known as the samadhi. There is neither objectives nor subjectives. They say that if someone meditates in the womb, what happening? Then it will not vanish, but he alone will stand complete in the awareness. So there are many kind of practice in samadhi. So when we are meditating in the womb, it also leads to the samadhi as well. But late we can also discuss later time more. But let we shall go to the samyam. What is samyam? Trayameka Traya me ekatra sayam. The three, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. Traya means three. Trayam ekatra, to put together. That was sayam. And sanjam, we call sayamaha. Sayamaha, together. Constitute called samaya, samyam. But in English it's called samayam, but in Sanskrit it's sanjama, sayamaha. Sayam means control. The sayam is the totality of the three processes described above. We call it sayamaha. Trayam ekatra samyamaha. Samyamaha. It contains two parts. Sam means perfect or true. Yama means control. So some sayamaha means completely over mastery, completely mastery over the psychic process, or a complete control of mental concentration. It is very important topic of yoga. It reveals to us secret of yogi powers. The application of sayama to different objects or thoughts will give rise to the psychic powers called vibhutis. So here you call vibhutis. You are achieved the supernatural powers. The application of sayama to different object thoughts will give rise to the psychic powers, so-called vibhuti. So we are going to experience the supernatural phenomena. The sayama cannot be said to be complete unless there is fusion of three processes of concentration. The object of meditation must become extremely clear. There should be no personal consciousness. The object may pertain to the body or the mind or the society or the personal possessions and so, but there should be these two factors. Swayam starts with the objective and subjective and objective awareness. There is a dual awareness. You are aware of your object of meditation within as well in the outside world, but gradually the outer doors and close and you are only the think that is inside. That is dhyana. Then the things inside becomes clearer and clearer, and simultaneously you lose your personal consciousness. That means that personal consciousness means actually you have to go beyond this physical body, beyond this annamaya kosha, pranamaya kosha, manamaya kosha, vijnanamaya kosha, and anandamaya. There are three put together are known as sanjamaha, and that we can speak more further. So what is the result of a sayamaha? That's sutra number 5. The touch jayata prajna lokaha. Actually, the sanjam leads to the prajna, leads to the higher consciousness, to the higher lokas, to prajna loka, to the jnana. Prajna means wisdom of the atma, of the higher consciousness. So that we'll keep continuing for the future lessons. So this must today. Om Sankaram Sankaracharyam Kesavam Badarayanam Sutrabhasa Kritam Vande Bhagavanto Punaha Punaha Iswara Gururatmeti Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyamavad Vyapta Dehaya Dachinamurtayi Namaha. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Sachidanandamurtayi Nisprapanchaya Santaya Niralambaya Tejase. Om Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Gurubhyo Namaha. Lokaha Samastaha Sukhino Bhavantu. 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 Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. धर्म का जय हो, अधर्म का नाश हो, देवताओं का जय हो, भगवान का जय हो, and Rakshasa and all the demons has to be destroyed. Om, 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 om. God bless you all. Thank you.